Hey, welcome back. This is sprint number 4. We're going to be working on 2 more power-ups. One is going to be called Machine Gun, and the other is called Shotgun. So obviously make sure you've done sprints 1 through 3 before trying to do this one. But let's take a look to see what these things do. So we got a link in here. I think I've already got the tab open. Let's go see what Machine Gun and Shotgun do. So if I run it right now, you can see it's going to randomly pick one of the power-ups between 1, 2, or 3. We'll just see what it picks. So right now I'm running around. Oh, I've got a machine gun over here. Yeah. So machine gun continually fires bullets. So every frame you make a bullet. There's the old one. There's the speed boost. I feel like I have to zip and zoom around. And so that's most of them. And then there's machine gun again. One thing you can do with your code is you can just wait for it to come up, or we could go in and change there it is, shotgun. So shotgun makes you click, so you got to click really fast, but there's no bullet limit with shotgun, which is nice. So those are the 3 power-ups, one of which we did last time. We tried to set up the code to prepare for these future ones, but it should be pretty fun. So hopefully you're looking forward to making those happen. Let's go do it. Sound good, Bob?
Sounds good.
All right, so where do we want to start? Well, I want to start by moving you around to there. Let's start with maybe drawing them. I don't know. We've got a power-up, which is a lightning bolt right now. And so I clicked on power up the sprite. I clicked on costumes. And we can see we've got this nice big lightning bolt. And we did very specifically set the name here to speed boost, as you recall. And the reason we did that is then we could use it in the code. Aha, that did not get saved. That's what it was. Speed boost is what we did last time. Bob and I had some things not get saved on us. All right, so now that's
fixed. We did that, so we could know what we were looking at. If you're looking at this code, you have to remember what costume 1 was, costume 2, 3. It can get unwieldy, especially if you're looking at code that you wrote a while ago. So using the name makes it very easy for someone who's looking at that, especially yourself later, to know exactly what you were intending to do there.
Cool. But the other one did work, just to say costume number 1 also did work. All right, let's make some more costumes. So these costumes we're just going to draw, and we don't want to make another sprite. We just want to make another costume for this sprite. So make sure you use the button over here about costumes and not this button over here. This would actually make a new sprite, which is not what we want, right? All right, so over here, new costume. If I hover over, you can see there's 4 options. There's choosing from the library. That would be the same as clicking it. There's painting it. That is what I want. Random and upload costume. Upload can be fun. That's like getting images from the internet. I'm just going to draw these. So I'm going to make a new one. And I'm just going to go ahead and give it a name here. I'm going to call it Machine Gun. I'm going to choose to use 2 words with the space in between them. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw bullets. So right now, because I would like to see it, I'm going to come over here, see where it says show, and it says like don't show. Click on this show. Now I got to find, it's it's showing, but it's also clear right now. So there's where it's going to be showing up at. And so I just wanted to see it as I drew, just so I kind of see what's going on. And I'm going to draw bullets. In our solution, our bullets were green. You can make your bullets whatever you'd like. Our bullets are just lines.
Sorry, really quick to interrupt. Can we take the bullet from the bullet costume and copy it and paste it over here, or is that not something that Scratch supports?
Yes, we can. That's a good question. That's a good observation. So I go over to the bullet. I click on this little grabby icon-y thing. I can select it and hit Control-C. And then
there's also a copy button at the top, it looks like. I don't know if that would have crossed platforms, but it looks like it would.
Yeah, I think that it would as well. And so the other way was you could highlight it and you could hit this copy, and then you could come over here and you could hit, hold on, let me delete this one.
Otherwise, it was going to work, and it was going to be 2 right on top of each other.
It's going to be 2 right on top of each other. So you can totally copy that other bullet. That's just fine. Now, you do have to realize that the bullet's being shown at 100%, and the power-up is currently being shown at 50%. So if you want them to match the line with the 5 here, it would have to go to 10. Details, right?
And that's just as the thickness. You'd have to make it a little longer.
Yep, that's exactly what I was thinking of next.
Yeah.
Cool. And then you've got to decide what you want it to look like. Like what would look like a machine gun. And so obviously there's a lot of bullets with machine gun. And so I'm just going to grab like a couple of them. I guess they're more like almost straight in a row, but it's just kind of like... and then you've got to figure out what the size is. If you're happy about the size, that's kind of huge right now. To be honest, the lightning bolt's kind of big. But the machine gun is quite big right now. Now, whenever you're doing like relative sizes like this, you do have to kind of, I'm not worried about the angle, you do have to kind of like highlight them and just kind of make them bigger and smaller so that they do kind of match. So I'm going to make this one a little smaller, and then now my lightning bolt to machine gun, I'd say that's pretty doable.
Yeah, and these costumes can be whatever makes sense. In our original, if Dave was trying to match, we had it more stair-steppy, where like the left one was actually a little bit under the center one as it went up. In our original code, when we were writing it, I think we had like a flask or some random shape from the costume library. And it was only later that we thought we really wanted the visual of the power-up to represent what the power-up was, so that we knew what it was going to be. We didn't want to have to memorize, a mushroom is go fast, and a flask is shoot machine gun. So we tried to, in this version, and in our final version, make the icons, the costumes, match what we were actually going to be doing with it.
Cool. And then while I'm in here drawing, I know that I'm going to be doing a shotgun. I've got this plan. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start my shotgun drawing with the machine gun drawing. And so I'm going to right click on it and say duplicate. And so that's another way you can kind of like get a good starting point. The duplicated version became called Machine Gun 2. I'm going to change that to shotgun. That spell right? Shotgun? Yeah, it looks good. And then shotgun, I'm going to draw just kind of something with like maybe angled bullets. And you can take as long as you would like to do your drawings. I know that whenever we have kids do drawings, like we're there for a while, right? Because there's a lot of people that like to get it just perfect. But I think that to me lets me know before I get it what it's a reminder of what it's going to do. It's going to do 3 bullets, kind of shotgunning out, right? Cool. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Let's go into the code. So the first thing we want to do in our code, this is our power-up code. There's quite a bit of stuff here. I'm just going to make sure we can see it all easier. Is we're going to figure out how we're going to randomly choose who's shown and where we want that code to go. So see if you can pause it and see if you can think it over. Where is it we're going to choose which costume to show? All right, I'll go ahead and talk about it as well. So picking which one to show should probably happen inside the show power-up block. It should probably happen before the show command. So anywhere in here, it can be at the go to, the point direction, the move, anywhere in here, you can pick which costume to do. For no real reason, I think of it as being like a pretty important task. So I'm probably going to put it pretty high in the code. And what I want to do is I want to go to looks. And I want to switch costume to, and I'll probably put it right here. So I'm going to choose to put it just before any of the motiony stuff. And you'll notice that right now it says switch costume to shotgun. Now we want to be able to randomly pick one. This is kind of tricky, but what you can do is you can actually put one of these pick random in here. Because as we've learned, you can refer to costumes by their name or by their number. And you can actually switch them by their name or by their number. And so you can actually just say, hey, switch the costume to pick random 1 to 3. And that will correspond to the numbers you see right here, 1, 2, or 3. Cool. And so if I were to run it now, it wouldn't be much fun, but there's a chance that I would get a shotgun to show up. Hold on, let me play again. And then there's the machine gun. By the way, Bob and I were talking before the video, and we noticed that the moment you hit the green flag, so the moment you hit it, I was going to let it go away there, it shows up like right away. In our original version, it didn't show up right away. So Bob, you want to fix it to where it doesn't show up right away?
Right now while we're troubleshooting and implementing it, I think it's useful to have it show up right away.
Okay.
But let's put a pin in it and remember before we're done with this little section to clean it up. And our logic behind that is in a lot of games, you kind of have a few seconds to kind of navigate what the game is, and then these rewards start popping up. And so we felt like it was more appropriate to have these rewards wait a little bit of time before they appear.
Cool. All right, so let's go ahead and figure out what you get if you collect one of these new power-ups. So let's go look around in our code and let's find this one that says add power-up effect. So what we've got here is we've got a chunk of code. It's an if statement that says if the costume is named this, then do this thing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another if statement like this. So I right-clicked on it and I said duplicate. And I'm going to get rid of the inside because the inside is going to be different. And I'm going to figure out what the name of my costume is. Another thing you can do is if you're very lazy, you can copy it from here. So I highlighted machine gun, and then over here I pasted, right? That has the advantage of there's no chance of typos, right? And then while I'm at it, what the heck, we'll just go ahead and do the next one. The next one is going to be shotgun. Now this is important, but if you change this name in one place, you will have to manually change it in the other as well. So that's one thing that can be tricky about like the way we're doing the strings here. All right, so if I connect these, I now have some structure that says if it's a machine gun, do this. If it's shotgun, do this. What are we going to do, right? So how are we going to actually make this happen? So we have a slight problem in that the sprite that knows the information, like the one that knows machine gun or knows shotgun, is not the sprite that needs the information. And the sprite that needs the information is the hero. Now the way we did it last time is we modified a variable that changed the hero speed, and we're actually going to do the same thing now. So communication can happen through broadcast events. We see that quite often, but it can also just happen through changing global variables. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a global variable called like machine gun status, and then we're also going to make one called shotgun status. And we've been kind of doing them in parallel, and that's actually been kind of fun for me. So we'll kind of keep with the parallel nature. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a variable. This variable is definitely going to be a for all sprites global variable because I want to modify it here and have it affect something over there. And I'm going to call it machine gun status for all sprites. And then I'm going to make another one called shotgun status. And that's also for all sprites. Cool. You can show them on the screen, but to be honest, that's a little bit overkill. I'm going to go ahead and hide that one and hide that one. Anytime you use variables, you need to have places where you set the initial value, places where you change it, and then places where you use it. So to set the initial value, I think I'm going to come over to the power up when green flag clicked. And so I've got a couple of variables that I'm kind of setting up already over here. This seems like a good spot to set my initial machine gun status to 0. We're going to use 0 to represent false. So is there like, is the machine gun on? And if it's 0, the status is no, it's not on. And a very similar thing for the shotgun status. It's also going to be 0. So it's kind of like turned off. So like not a thing.
That's a pretty common thing you'll see in advanced coding, just a flag or a variable. It's called a flag if it's keeping track of something. 0 being no, 1 being yes.
Cool. Now we're going to do the easy part. And the easy part is when you collect the power up, you're going to set, so I'm just going to stick this in here. I'm going to set machine gun status. Where'd it go? Machine gun status right there. I'm going to set it to 1. And then I'm going to also, whenever shotgun is collected, I'm going to set the shotgun status to 1. And then no surprise, this is add power up effect. There's another function, remove power up effect, where I'm going to remove it. Now this is the easy part. So let me go and get one more. Shotgun status. Now I could just, this is not going to be a very fun test. You can just watch this. I could see if it's working by collecting it and seeing if my variables change. So let me just kind of wait until I get one of these two options. It's lightning bolt again. Come on, something not lightning bolt. Aha, there it is. So that is my machine gun. So right now you can see that my machine gun status is on. However, if you observe, and then there it went off. If you observed, I didn't actually have a machine gun, right? The variable is, there's my shotgun. So yeah, my shotgun status is 1. But if I fire, it's not actually a shotgun yet.
Right. Haven't implemented that
yet.
Haven't implemented that yet. We can see we changed the variables, and that's key.
Yep. All right, now somebody has to actually do it. And the person who's going to actually do it is going to be the Ladybug. And so the Ladybug is the one who actually has a change happen as a result of this. The area code that I'm interested in is in this bullet firing area. So I zoomed way in here. So right now, when does it fire? Well, a couple things have to be true. The mouse has to be down, and the bullet count has to be less than the bullet limit. And then and only then do you create a clone of a bullet. And you kind of lock yourself up in here until you release the mouse, which is interesting. So think about how we might want to have an if statement for a machine gun status. All right, I'm going to go and do it with you. If, and I want an operator here. So I'm going to say if the machine gun status is 1, so if the machine gun status is 1, then I want to do something. So to be honest, machine gun, it just self-auto fires, right? So it does not even belong inside of mouse down, so it's actually going to be after this if statement. So I'm going to stick it on here. And so if the mouse is down and the bullet counter is okay and all that happens, then you can fire bullets. But with machine gun status, all you're going to do is just every frame, so every frame through your game, you're just going to make another bullet. Now it's not quite infinitely fast, so create clone of bullet. It's not quite infinitely fast, but it's really fast. Now I could totally hit the play button, and eventually I would get a machine gun. But just to show you what you can do when you're testing is you can rig the random number generator, right? So whenever I randomly pick something 1 to 3, I'm going to set it randomly between 2 and 2. Right?
What do you think it's going to pick?
What do you think it's going to pick? Hey, it's a machine gun. And then the moment I hit the machine gun, it's just a barrage of bullets. And then you can see as soon as I lost, this would be an easy game. But
power up popped up right where you were every single time.
It just happens to be pretty close, and it's always pretty machine
close.
guns, right? By the way, sometimes students enjoy playing their game in really easy mode for a while, and that's fine. But at some point, your goal should be to make a game that's, like, I don't know, more challenging, because it actually will be more fun in the long run. But you can definitely have fun for a while, just blowing them away with machine guns constantly. And as you can see, like, you don't even have to move with machine gun. You can just, like, draw circles around yourself with your mouse, and you just kind of kill everybody. So
it can be fun to dominate games. It can be very rewarding to overcome a challenging game.
Yeah, indeed. All right. So to be honest, because of how we had set it up, machine gun is now completely done. We made the variable. We made a way to set it to 1. We made a way to set it back to 0. And then the hero, while it was set to 1, it actually did the thing. And so the nice thing is that shotgun is actually pretty far along as well. So it's already setting to 1. It's setting back to 0 later. So the only thing we've got to do is we've got to figure out how to put it into this code. So how should it work? And so it could work just like machine gun, where if it's shotgun status, then it fires a shotgun. That would make it like a shotgun / machine gun, like both. So we do want to force users to click the button. So actually, I know that it's going to be somewhere in here. So it's going to be in this mouse down area. Do we want to enforce the bullet counter? And the answer is no. And the reason we don't want to enforce the bullet counter is because it fires 3 at a time, right? You would hit your limit really quick. So we're not going to have a bullet counter. So what I want to do is I really want to introduce another if statement like right between these two. So if the bullet counter is that, oh no, actually I think I'm going to do it a little different. I'm going to do it where it's an else if. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to work outside my code to kind of make a structure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask if it's shotgun or not first, and then as a subsequent follow-up question, if it's not shotgun, then I'll put this existing code. Maybe it'd be easier if I just do it and then we'll look at it. So if the shotgun status is a 1, then we're going to do the new thing. But the old thing, and this can sometimes be hard, is refactoring. The old thing is this if statement here. Now the wait until should be on the bottom. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to move the wait until first, and then I'm going to move this if statement second. And so this if statement is going to go in the lower half. So if it's shotgun status, that's going to be my new thing. I'm going to write that code here in a minute. But if it's not shotgun, I want to still do my old thing. And in both situations, I want to wait till the mouse is released. All right, so now I'm going to put this back. And to be honest, refactoring code like that, might have to pause it and compare yours to mine. Refactoring code like that is actually easier in text than it is with blocks. But you can see how kind of carefully and artfully I went around moving it around. And if your eyes are good enough, you can figure out this code, right? So it says, if the mouse is down, do this chunk. And at the bottom, you have to release the mouse. And then if it's shotgun, it's this double chunk. And so the only thing we're missing is actually writing the middle. You can run your game and make sure that we didn't entirely break it. So we did not, which is good. And then I'll go back in. So then the next question is, how do we do the shotgun thing? And so the shotgun really has to do with the angle that the bullet takes off at. So if we go over to the bullet real quick, you can see that the angle of the bullet is set. When it's a clone, it goes to the hero, and then it points towards the mouse pointer. And so that sets the angle. So what we're going to do is we're going to introduce an additional kind of offset left and offset right. Does that make sense? Let's just do one, and then we'll show you some more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a variable. So I'm going to call this variable my offset bullet angle. You're almost offset bullet angel there for a minute. And so what we're going to do is we're going to point towards the mouse pointer, but then we're going to adjust by the offset angle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to point at the mouse pointer, and then I'm going to turn a little bit based on the offset angle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this to like negative 15 degrees, fire one slightly off that way, positive 15 degrees, fire one off that way, and then back to 0 for the final bullet. And then that way it'll be set to 0 when I'm done as well, right? I'm not sure that I would have thought of that until I just kind of like sat and brainstormed for a little while, but I think that this is going to be a fun way to do it. So inside the hero, we need to fire 3 bullets. And we're going to just do it this way. We're going to say create a clone of bullet, create a clone of bullet, and create a clone of bullet. And then what's going to be different for each one is that offset angle. And I'm going to do it in such a way where there's an unexpected error, which will be fine. So here's how we're going to do the offset arrow. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to set the offset angle to negative 15. And then we're going to set the offset angle to positive 15. And then we're going to actually fire the 0 angle one last. So offset bullet angle. All right, so we set it to an angle, we fire. We set it to a different angle, we fire. We set it back to 0, we fire the third one. Let's give it a go. And I'm going to go cheat on the power up. I'm going to pick a random number between 3 and 3. So that makes testing way easier to kind of do that cheat. All right, so there's the shotgun. So I get it, and I fire. Now what you'll notice is it didn't work, right? Maybe if your eyes are super good, you'll notice, oh, I should hit somebody with one of the bullets. So let me try to hit somebody. I guess it made them all go away. There's actually 3 bullets that are being fired, and so there's 3 bullets that are all kind of like connected. By the way, if you're really good, you can actually like grab your bullets and move them around, but that's kind of difficult. And so why did it fail? It failed for a technicality reason, which probably is not exciting to you. It failed because of how Scratch works with frames. It actually runs like all of the code in this frame, and so actually it set it to -15, set it to +15, then set it to 0, and then it actually processed all the crate clones. It's what's called a race condition, and so what we need to do is we need to put in very, very small delays to fix this problem. Delays happen over in control, and so what we're going to do is we're going to wait for just a little bit before we do it. Right now it says 1 second. That's obviously bigger than we need, but we need to fire one, wait a little bit, fire another, wait a little bit, and then fire the third. I'm going to see what happens if it's a full second for beginners here. Oops, I got all the wrong keys. So I got to go get it, and so now if I fire, that didn't work at all, Bob.
Let's see.
Sometimes this happens. Bullet.
What are you doing with the offset bullet angle in?
I'm turning offset bullet angle degrees. I thought that was the right thing. I might have to pause the video and go figure it out.
Move towards show.
It might be where I put the delay. So I think that this race condition is kind of a confusing thing.
That's exactly how we have it in the solutions.
That's interesting.
In the hero, we have if shotgun status equals 1, then we set the offset angle to -15. We create a clone. We wait for 0.01 seconds. We set the offset angle to 15.
So it's working.
Wait for 0.01 seconds, and then set it to 0 and create the clone.
So I changed the time to make it slower. I changed it to what I was eventually going to change it to. I changed it to 0.1.
Yeah.
But whenever I had it
0.01,
0.01, yeah, really, really low. But whenever I had it at a full 1, it didn't work. Huh.
Don't click.
So after I get it. Oh, okay. It's just 1 second was so long that I kind of forgot.
It came out eventually.
Yeah. It came out eventually. Yeah. I was just not waiting long enough. Okay. Yeah. So it's just 1 second in video game time is like an eternity, right?
Yeah.
All right. Whew, that's good.
It was working.
I was getting confused there, but it was actually always working fine. By the way, if your eyes are good enough, you can actually see the delta based on just 0.1 second. And so this is kind of funny, but sometimes you can actually set it all the way down to 0, and it will actually fix the race condition bug. I'm just going to see if it works this time. There's no harm in setting it to some really small number, but I think it's funny that a time delay of 0 also works. That's great.
Right.
So I don't know why, but I feel a little inelegant about that. So you can put it down. I'll compromise, and I'll set it to a really low number. All right. I think that we just finished. The only thing that we've got to fix is we've got a display on the screen here, which if your eyes are good enough, you actually see it go through all the different numbers really fast. Cool. So I need to get rid of displaying that. I also have a little leftover gem where it's always picking shotgun. I want to switch that back to picking random. And then I want to play my game for just a little bit, and you should want to play your game too. So I'll start off with a machine gun here. It's funny, it's almost too big for my eyes. It's like I got to scoot back from the monitor. A little shotgun. Take that. I can't tell which one I like better. I think that I like machine gun the best because you can just basically just stand in the middle and just like do this. Look at all those bullets. Speed boost is probably the least useful, just to be perfectly honest about it. But, you know, somebody had to be first. Shotgun's fun, though, because you can actually click pretty fast. And you can get quite a few bullets on the screen.
See, I think shotgun is the easier one to recover from when it goes away. Whereas if you're in the middle of machine gun mode and then are used to just doing this, an enemy can come up on you and you're like, what? I was shooting.
It's so fun.
So we've got a couple other tweaks to do really quick. We had said earlier we did not want the power-up to display right away. And so we have a small bit of code to add there.
Good time to do that.
Honestly, it's very easy. What Dave has is almost going to work already. We're going to want to swap, if you'll notice really quickly. Right now, he goes into the forever loop. He shows the power-up, and then he waits before he hides it again. But now we're going to wait the hidden time and then show it. But the problem with that is going to be that when he starts the game, there's going to be a random one that just kind of appears at the beginning. Our first one will display anyway, so we actually have to throw in a hide.
So I died with it being hidden, and so if I hit new game, it starts off being visible, right? Yep. So it starts off still there. It's kind of a weird thing, right? So
you couldn't even grab it.
I couldn't even grab it because So we need to hide it to start with.
Yeah. It's quite common for us to hide our original and then clone. Yeah. Which in essence is what's happening here.
This one's not technically a clone, but it's the same concept, right? So it's not until you show it that it shows up, but it is the original. All right, so now when I hit the green flag, it does hide that one. Because to be honest, it's not really like set up to work right up until you start showing it proper. So. Boom, boom. And it's just because you weren't in the code that had the loop that did the if check. Cool. This game is already getting pretty fun. I'd say the biggest problems with this game is that, well, for me, I can't lose, right? So it needs to get harder. So that's something that I would need to do. Also, we have one more power up that we want to do first. It's called Obliterate. And it's just going to kind of be a fun power up. We're going to play like a big obnoxious sound for Obliterate. All right, let's look at some of the things you should have learned this time.
I got a funny anecdote really quick, which the viewer can fast forward through if they don't enjoy anecdotes. But we were talking earlier about how you can make games various levels to play easier or harder, and we were saying that a challenging game is more rewarding. A couple summers ago, we were writing 2-player games, and there was a game where you and the opponent were both trying to race to get things. And my youngest daughter, Senya, she said that she wanted to play by herself. And ironically enough, we had done 1-player games the year before. But so we worked to turn this 2-player game into a 1-player game. And instead of racing another person to the object, she wanted to race a robot. And so we set it up, and I had the robot working its way towards the object. It would just know where the object was, and it would go towards it. And she said, "Can we have an easy mode and a hard mode?" And I said, "Sure. Do you want to have the hard mode go fast towards the object and the easy mode go slowly towards the object?" She said, "No. I want the easy mode to run away from the object." And the hard mode to go slowly towards the object.
My guess is that eventually the easy mode would become less fun, but maybe not for a while.
It was funny to implement. We literally pointed towards, did a 180, and ran.
Nice. All right, so some of the skills we used this time. Wrapping up, I enjoyed the story. Drawing sprites. Obviously, we drew with the lines. That's something you can do, something you should keep in your toolbox. Communication via global variables, very common. Broadcasting is great, but global variables get used all the time. Making improvements incrementally. This one's more like a meta skill, but you can see how we didn't try to do the whole game at once. We just had a goal, and we added this thing, and then we're going to add one more thing, and then we'll add one more thing. You get the idea. Some repeat skills from last time. We're using that costume name and number as a state variable, so we know what power-up effect we get based on what costume was being shown, and that's a handy way. It saves you a variable, right? And then we're really seeing the benefits of how we're using our blocks for organization. So it was quite easy for us to add another thing because we had this add power up area, and so we knew just what was going to go in there. And we had this remove power up area. We knew just what was going to go in there. I didn't have to go looking through all the code just because I knew based on the name of this function what it did and where I needed to put the thing. All right, so that is us. That is it for this time. Next time we're going to come back with just kind of a fun, silly one, an obliterate that just blows everything up when you hit it. So should be a good one. All right, we'll see you next time.
Happy coding.